We're going to be covering how we actually grow mealworms on a larger scale. Now, here at the Outdoor Bird Supply Store, we can't even grow enough for our own customers, so we have to import them as well. But I want to give you an idea how you can do this at home if you wanted to. Is over the years, lately we've been using an egg drop method, which is essentially the beetles are up here sitting in the bran, and we'll show you that here in a minute. And then you can simply just shake the simple apparatus in the frass, and the eggs will drop to the bottom, and we'll show you that here in a second. Part of this is you got to get rid of this bottom and these 28 ounce, these are 28 quart containers, and these are the ones that kind of slide underneath your bed, and so they're perfect for this type of thing. We're using a bunch of different types of them, but they're all the same size. They're right at that 28 to 32 quart size. And so the way I remove this, I've done it a couple different ways. One, I've actually used a knife, and I don't really recommend a nice sharp knife because you'll end up possibly cutting yourself. Lately, what I've used is a small Dremel tool, and then we'll show you how that operates in the future. But it just runs on a high-speed cutter, and we can cut this whole thing out right here. So eventually what we're going to do is we're going to have that piece cut out, and then we're going to use a screen. And I like the screen that is a little tougher than, say, the metal screen. So this is actually a fabric right here. And then I use a glue gun to just essentially just glue it onto this piece. Now, over time, these will lift off, and then so you have to re-glue it. The good news is you still have the glue on there. But this is basically what it's going to end up looking like. Is a nice steady panel right here, and then this is plenty big for our eggs to drop through, yet our beetles are too big to actually get through this screen. So the brand is too big to get to the screen. The only thing that can actually get through are the eggs and the small larvae, and then the eggs themselves. Okay, so we want to fill this up with something, and what we use here is we use wheat bran. It's relatively inexpensive, and we're just going to put a couple giant scoops of this into this pot right here, into our, I call it an egg drop crate. That's what's happening, the eggs are dropping through. And we just put a nice big bed of this in here. You don't have to use wheat bran, you could use oatmeal. I don't particularly like oatmeal, it gets too dusty, but and believe it or not, it's too expensive. Wheat bran is a very inexpensive way to do it. I just level it out a little bit. And then I'm going to add a few carrots because our next step in this will be to put live beetles in here. And so that will be our next step in this particular container. And we'll do that later on. And then finally what I want to do in this particular case, I'm just going to put a lid on it and put it off to the side. Very much is the cleanest method to do this egg drop method. And essentially I'm just going to give it a little shake. They've already kind of fallen through. And then I'm just going to separate the two units. Come in, dump it in there. And this has been about a week. So that's the entire time that these have been sitting in here right now. You can see some of the beetles actually made it through. And then we'll put some carrots in there very shortly. But in this one, we want to reapply, if we have to. There's plenty of bran in here right now. Just come on a little closer. You can see our beetles. There's our screen. All right, and so they're just sitting in here, and since they've had a week's worth of work, then we're going to do some carrots for them. And by the way, they'll probably consume these by tomorrow morning. They'll also eat the wheat bran as well, so that's the frass that actually fall through. Now this is called the darkling beetle. And all these are older, and you can tell because they're a dark black. So when the darkling beetle first hatches out of the pupa stage, they're bright white, and then about a week or two later they turn to brown, and then they eventually get to this black color. Here in the background is we're actually feeding the mealworms that have already been placed into their own container. And we do that at least once a week because they already have the bran that they eat. So we're giving them bran all the time. So you have to pay attention. Since they live in the bran and eat the bran, then that needs to be replaced on an ongoing basis until they're ready to be hatched. Shake it a little bit. We're just going to keep going. I'm probably going to end up putting probably close to 6 to 8 pans into this one. And you can see I'm just dumping it in there. Now, if you look at it right now, you can't really see anything, but there are eggs in here. And so you can do one or two things. You can either not believe there's eggs in there, which there's probably 1,000 of them in there, or just give it about 2 weeks, and then you'll start seeing the bran wiggle. So that's how you know you have mealworms in there. The bran will start wiggling on its own, and it looks like it's kind of alive. And at that point, you want to make sure you're adding carrots to the mixture. But we're just going to keep doing it. I'm going to do one more of these so you can actually see it. Okay, what we're going to do, I won't bore you with doing all the rest of them, but here we go. Just going to take this out, flop it over here, dump them in. And I want to check my unit again to make sure there's plenty of bran in it, and there is. You can see they didn't eat all the carrot last time. You could cut back if you wanted to, but what we're going to do is just go ahead and add some more in there. Okay. That's it. You can use potato. It's just a little messier for us. Potato is. You could use lettuce. It's just about any vegetable you could probably stick in there, and they'll go ahead and eat it. Carrots is easy. It's inexpensive. It's not quite as messy, and so that's why we use it. This video for us. So we basically just fill the pan up, and then since I know that we have eggs in there, I am going to leave just a couple carrots, but not a lot. They won't not be able to consume this much versus if you had a whole pan full of them ready to be harvested, they could easily eat this many by tomorrow. So in this particular case, they're going to get their moisture from both the bran and the carrots in here. So any beetles that kind of got into this, perfectly fine. They'll eat the carrots as well. But what we're going to do next is we basically just label it. And so this is the egg drop method. I put on their egg drop. I put the date. And so this is 7/10. And essentially right around the 1st of September, these are probably ready to go to be sold. That's it. I'm David Peterson with Outdoor Bird Supplies. I hope you enjoyed the video.